by Telkom Enterprise. Accelerate your business growth with reliable high-speed connectivity solutions from Telkom Enterprise.
Welcome back to Jeff Koinange Live. As Citizen Television, I tell you what an interview we're having. Riveting, one of you are saying out there. Yes, indeed, because Anne Waiguru, former CS for Devolution, is coming out guns blazing. I tell you, she's taken enough, and she's giving as much as she can take. I tell you, Kipchumba Murkomen, listen to this. He says, I am saddened that you are giving credibility to PAC report. Those are thieves. PAC is a toll station for collecting bribes. Guy.
That's true. That's just it, Jeff.
Let's go to the tweets. Let's go to more tweets. Okay, what do we have, Monica? What do we have? Oops. All right, what do we have? Joseph Mtange, you say, sometime back she said she is a technocrat, not a politician. What changed her mind?
Oh.
You said you were a technocrat, remember?
Mm-hmm.
You said you were not a politician.
I said circumstances changed. I was a technocrat at the time. And as I said, people asked me from home to stand and be the governor of Kirinyaga, and I considered it over time.
Yeah, did you think you would get 100,000 votes?
I think so, because I've been around campaigning.
So has Martha. But she wasn't running then, she was just getting ready.
No, but you've seen the polls already. By neutral people, we are at 80%. She's at 13%.
And the incumbent came third?
Yes, he did.
A man.
Mm-hmm. Thank God.
Mzazi Muggs Shefar, you say, I think what is important is to ask her whether she is sincere enough to step down from the race until cleared of allegations.
I mean, you don't stand or not stand because of allegations. Anybody can make allegations, Jeff. Anyone. In fact, as I said, if we were to go on allegations, there'll be nobody to stand in this country. I mean, from the president himself, who's given allegations every day, including by Joho on the SGR, to Raila and everybody else, there'll be nobody standing if you were to step down just based on an allegation. And that's why there is the rule of law. That is why there's a rule of law. Yeah. Because there must be a process that checks whether you're guilty or not. Otherwise, when people don't like you, they will make allegations. They will pay for you to be vilified in the media. We will shout. We will measure the decibel and then say it's very loud. So let us make sure that Jeff doesn't even hold this job. Yeah. There are too many allegations.
That's why some of us are afraid to run for office. Mm-hmm. Do you think the law is on your side?
The law is on my side.
Dominic Karanu, you say, I would like to thank Anne Waiguru for Huduma Center and transformation done at NYS. Despite everything, you were great.
Thanks, Dominic.
Martha Karua, what's your relationship with her?
We're political competitors, I guess, and we come from the same village. We come from the same constituency.
Gishogo?
Yes.
You're both from Gishogo?
Mm-hmm.
Do you talk?
If I meet her, I say hello, how are you? But we don't go out and have coffee, of course. Yeah, but if we meet in a function, I greet her.
She would love for you to be disqualified, you know that?
I know. In fact, you should ask yourself, who would benefit if I was disqualified? She's one of those. They know very well that if we run, I will win. And so the only way is to stop her. And they had underestimated me before the nominations. And so it caught them by surprise that I actually did win by such a huge margin. And now the only recourse they thought after that. Because if this was sincere, they should have started a way back, even before nominations, to say, no, we don't think. And everybody who has allegations, all of us letters, step aside. But you can't pick one person and say you have allegations, and therefore you, since we're still investigating, you don't run. But people we have charged in court can run. I mean, which country are we living in?
But at the same time, you know, she comes across as someone who has never been corrupt.
Really? Are you forgetting about the BAT scandal?
Hello?
Are you forgetting about the BAT scandal? She just managed it very well. The media, as I said, chooses what to hype and what not to hype. This was even done by the UK Fraud Office, for heaven's sake.
I remember that story in the Business Daily.
And one of the people who worked in her campaign actually had to resign all the boards she sits in. It wasn't even an allegation. It was proven that they actually did receive money. So come out as clean? Hell no. Let me tell you something else. There is very many complaints in Kirinyaga of when she was minister in Southern Gariama, where she oversaw the subdivision of land in Southern Gariama, together, coincidentally, with the former MP for Kirinyaga Central, who is now her running mate, who was a surveyor then. Martha's family members were allocated land irregularly. It's a matter that is being picked up now by Kirinyaga people.
Yeah.
And they're saying we will not vote for her because her mother, they gave her parents this, her sister got this, her brothers got this, and she also allocated herself land.
Yeah.
But because we don't talk about it, because the media will not find that as a sensational enough, because it's not Anne Waiguru we're talking about, and she's not that much of a threat, so we let it pass. But it's not to say that she's clean.
I wish.
In fact, majority of the corrupt people will never find themselves in the headlines.
What do you mean?
Just that.
So it's the uncorrupt ones?
Yes.
The innocent ones?
Sometimes.
I wish she was here to defend herself, Martha. If you're listening or watching, you have this bench. You are welcome to come to the bench anytime. So a moment ago you say you chat with her, but clearly there's no love lost here.
No. I mean, we're in a political competition, Jeff. And when you're in politics, she said some very nasty things about me herself, you know, which you take in your stride, because when you throw yourself in the ring in politics, you expect mud to be thrown your way. And personally, I travel light. I don't take this as a matter of life and death. I don't make it a personal vendetta issue that if you run against me, we become enemies. If I meet Ndadi today, I will greet him. Despite all, if I meet Gashoki, I will say hello. You know, and I don't fight. If you look at my campaigns, I actually stay away from negative mudslinging, because I want to set a standard similar to what I would want, as much as it probably wouldn't happen the way I want.
Yeah.
But I try very much. So we're not friends. I wouldn't say there's no love lost. We're just political competitors. Yeah. And I'm sure when this is over, I will have won. I mean, it's obvious with the numbers, and we can have coffee and decide on how to work to make our county a better place.
I was going to ask you, are you going to beat her?
I will beat her. I will beat her. We will work very hard to beat her. Yes. And so far, the numbers in Kirinyaga are favorable.
And I come back to a point I made earlier on. If on Friday they say, Anne Waiguru, you're not getting the certificate. Let
me say this, Jeff. As I have said, there are not two laws for Anne Waiguru and others for other people. The IEBC will apply the same standard across the board. If Mukroman has been cleared, and Gladys Sholea has been cleared, and Sonko has been cleared, and everybody else, why would you bar Waiguru? And by the way, for people like me, we're still saying, let us look. We haven't found anything. Let us keep looking. That is what we're saying.
Until we find something.
And until we find something. I'm sure there's someone who's saying keep looking until you find something, which again I said is no longer an investigation. That is a witch hunt.
And at the end of the day, you can sleep at night knowing you didn't steal a cent from NYS?
Jeff, if I stole a cent, I would be in jail. As I told you, of the 791, it's recovered. I don't know how else to tell you. I think people just don't want to hear it because it's not convenient. It's an inconvenient truth. So we want to stick at money was stolen from NYS. How much? 791, which was recovered, by the way, by the Asset Recovery Agency. They went to Parliament. They told them we've recovered. They disregarded that piece of evidence, right?
Yeah.
And wrote like the money has never been recovered. It was recovered. So which other money? And they already found it.
Maybe someone else was saying the other day that one of the reasons the people of Kirinyaga have voted for you overwhelmingly is because you're close to power.
I'm not close to power. I'm not close to power. I've been at home for 2 years. That is what you call close to power? I'm just an ordinary citizen. And as I said, the people of Kirinyaga, just like the people of Kenya, genuinely and sincerely see through the machinations the lies, the witch hunting, they see through it. We imagine because we read the newspapers and because those who follow us will agree with us, as I said, I talked about us sitting in this echo chamber, that we have convinced the whole country. No, we haven't. No, we haven't. You know why the NYS story must stick? Can you imagine the embarrassment to NASA if we say yes? And by the way, Jeff, if you remember, one of the things that people never want to talk about is that I wrote the letter to CID calling for the investigation. Do you remember that?
No.
See?
Calling for which investigation?
For the 791.
You did?
I'm the one who did it.
You claim to be the whistleblower, right?
I don't claim. There's a difference between claiming and there being evidence that I did. There is a letter, Jeff. There's a difference between claiming and evidence. You know? It's a fact. I called CID to get into NYS and investigate. That is what a leader does when you find that there has been misappropriation in your ministry.
Yeah, then why did it turn around and hit you in the face?
I have just told you that people had been sent home, a group of them. They were trying to hit back. In fact, this comes, and this is 2015. Anyone who cares to look at the narrative and how it was built, they needed to turn this narrative around. And there was a time, by the way, when they wrote this affidavit, that they actually thought they would convince the courts to stop the court case and then start investigation on Anne Waiguru because we have brought this new evidence. Evidence being an affidavit. And by the way, an affidavit is not evidence. It's just a document. You need to have supporting evidence that corroborates and ensures that you can actually say that this is evidence. So my point is, of course, it hit back. And I think that is one of the things that I said. Their cartels joined together with those who had been sent home as ministers and some other people who were not ministers in 2015. And they worked on, there was something called a war council, which had members. They went and enhanced the war council. They drove the agenda. There are those who were in charge of social media. There were those who were in charge of the print media. There were those who were in charge of the political narrative. They worked. It was a clear strategy. It's there. And if only the intelligence would tell you, they would tell you, actually, it is true what she's saying. But they wouldn't tell you because they don't work in the media.
Who amongst them? I mean, if I remember the ministers who were suspended then, I remember Charity Ngilu was suspended. Kamau, Minister of Transport. Agriculture Minister.
If I tell you, you wouldn't buy my book.
I'm going to buy your book anyway.
If I say it on air, I need that book to sell.
When's it out?
Because I must support this lifestyle.
When is it out?
That the purport that I have. And by the way, Jeff, let me say this.
Yes.
I thank God that there is a God in heaven. Let me say this for the sake of those who live in social media. I own a building here on Luthuli Avenue somewhere, some huge building. I don't know whether you've seen those things.
No.
I have a mall here in near Machakos bus stop somewhere. I have, I think, 3,000 acres. I'm told, I'm not sure whether it's Isiolo or it is in Nanyuki. I have, the other day, someone comes and tells me in Kirinyaga that the land I'm selling in Muiga, that they're interested. I don't have a single piece of land in Muiga. I hear I have some over 10 houses or estate somewhere in Karen. And Jeff, you may laugh, but this is things my kids come and tell me, by the way, Mom, you should see what they're saying on social media, you own. And I think that's why they're driving. And Raila has this thing on lifestyle because he thinks that, I'd ask her what she has bought in 5 years. I've bought nothing, by the way.
Nothing?
In the last 5 years.
Nothing can be traced to you?
Not traced. Forget tracing. You know, you could have bought and then you're not able to trace. I've bought nothing. You know, absolutely nothing.
Do you have a mortgage? Do you have?
Yes, I have a loan that got stuck when I left office.
Yeah.
You know, for the house which I live in right now, and thankfully those people have allowed me some time to sort out myself. But other than that, there is absolutely no attempted to purchase anything for the last 5 years.
Nothing.
Nothing. And let me say this. The other day I hear some Americans, and this, by the way, it's important I say this, Jeff, because I would imagine that these people have better intelligence. Some Americans are sitting with a friend of mine, and and then one of them says, oh, you know, Waiguru is building this hotel in Lake, I think Lake Chale or something like that. There's a lake somewhere in Taita. And this friend of mine says, you serious? I mean, this is ridiculous. I know she's not doing any such thing. And didn't tell them and calls me and puts me on speaker and says, by the way, I hear you're building a hotel in Lake Chale. I said, where is that? You know, I mean, I mean, when will people start allocating me people's properties? In fact, there should be a law that if you're located a property, you're given 1% of it. I think I'd be very wealthy. So just for the record.
Yeah. Okay.
Just for the record.
Okay.
Because Raila thinks there will be something they will uncover with lifestyle audit. They will be very disappointed.
What is this vendetta thing with you and Raila? What is it?
Kibera, I think I embarrassed him too much. That, I think, because people started saying, this girl has come in 3 years, you know, look at what she has done, and, you know, and he's been here 26. I think that was a huge embarrassment. I didn't intend it to be an embarrassment. It was not intentional. I think I just took my work too seriously, you know, and I decided to clean up the place, and I think we could build toilets, and then, voila, this is what happened. So I think, for me, it's me who sued him. So it's not so much. And I think even when he went to start saying all the things that he said, he was angry at this embarrassment that people were beginning to perpetrate. And then the other thing is, if, as I said, if the corruption narrative doesn't work, then NASA has nothing to stand on for this political campaign, because they have built this political campaign of theirs on the narrative of corruption, and especially NYS. And so the NYS story has to stay until the election is done. So it's a convenience for the NASA brigade and whoever follows them.
If NASA wins the presidency,
they won't win.
Let me finish my question. If they do win, you know they'll come after you.
So God help us. You know what, Jeff?
Tell me.
There is a God in heaven. Let me say this. There are people who have come after me, even now, and are very powerful people. But I believe that ultimately, the machinations of men are limited by God. You know, we sit and plan things and say we will do this. Who guarantees human beings these powers? You may want to go after someone and you're not able to, you know? So I keep saying, and this I've said to other people, there is a God in heaven, Jeff. There is a God in heaven.
Yeah. My good friend, Maina Kageni. Maina, go to bed, okay? You have a radio show in the morning. Anyway, Maina's asking, is Anne Waiguru stronger now? Is your character stronger now? Or do you regret coming back into the fire?
I don't know. I think many times we think we are not strong, but we actually are given the strength to go through challenges. I mean, this is my share of challenge, Jeff. People go through different kinds of challenges.
How much of it can you take? Keep taking?
Like what?
The stuff that comes at you from all sides.
I don't even see it. I don't see it, Jeff. I told you, I don't read the papers. I don't go to social media. I just don't. So, and by the way, it's not unique to me, as I said. It's directed at you tomorrow. The next day it's directed to someone else who came to read news and was dressed in a funny way. Someone sings a song and it's directed at them. I mean, it's just the society we live in. So you have to find a way, especially if you're in the public limelight, to deal with it. And I have fantastic family and friends, let me put it that way, who are a strong shield also around me. So I'll survive for the duration of time that I'm doing this.
Okay. Orie Rogomanduli, she says, Anne, come out and name those you say framed you. This is your chance. I give you the benefit of the doubt. And then she goes on to say, leave Raila's name out. He wasn't with you in government.
Well, I'd leave his name out if he left my name out, you know? Raila is the one who, by the way, Jeff, started the conversation in the public about me. He's the one who went to Kibera and talked about me. Up to that point, there has been no conversation in the public about me and my integrity. Up to that point. And that's why I've sued him. I said, before you went to the public to say I stole $1 billion shillings, me, Anne, nobody had ever questioned my integrity. And because you have a following, you influence people and therefore defamed me. And that is why I have sued him. So yes, you would want me to leave Raila's name out. But he's the one who called my name in Kibera and in Uhuru Park. In fact, in Uhuru Park, he said very nasty things, extremely nasty things. So I wouldn't mention him, by the way. I have great respect for leaders. But he's the one who started naming me first.
Yeah. Before I let you go, and you can say some final thoughts, I have to ask you this question. This is just for me, nobody else. When's the last time you spoke to the president?
I won't answer that.
That's your camera. Which is the camera? This one? That's your camera over there? Closing thoughts.
Well, let me say it's been a journey. I am looking forward to the running for the seat in Kirinyaga County. I know the Kirinyaga people have confidence in me, and they will elect me overwhelmingly, and I promise to serve them diligently and with the same favor that I did when I was in the government. And to the women out there who, not just in politics, but also in the corporate, who have gone through their fair share of being victimized because you are women, I hope that you will be encouraged to be a little bit stronger, stand up if you can, keep pushing. I think it's worth it. And I think we need women leaders out there. I hope that we will make a few women governor leaders out there for Laboso and Wavinya and Gilu. I wish them all the best, and I hope that at least all of us make it. For society, I think let us take a moment and reflect. And for you, civil society, who claim to be the custodians of integrity, I think you start by having an inside look on yourself about what that is, and really if you're sincere, or we just forget this whole conversation and just leave it to the rule of law. I think they owe it to us to come up with better assessments if they're going to do assessments on matters of integrity or performance and all, and not to be subjective. And finally, also to those of us who are leaders out there, let us keep the peace. This country is bigger than all of us, and we hope that come August 8th that the Kenyan people will make a decision who the best leaders that they want to serve them, and that we will accept that.
Yeah, real quick, to the little girls watching you right now who want to be Anne Waiguru when they grow up, what encouragement do you give them?
Work hard. Life is tough, but work hard. Work hard, stick to your value system, choose the right friends to be around you, read widely, and there's no shortcut to success. I think many girls are cheated. There's no shortcut to success. You have to work extremely hard to get it. For every girl out there, you have to work 4 times as hard to get half the recognition that men get.
Yeah.
So keep at it, and I hope that we encourage you.
And in this day and age of social media, what do you tell people who are subjected like you, partly like me, but mostly like you, every day being hammered, being grilled, being crucified, in your words? What do you tell them?
I think we need to be a little bit more responsible. But I think, Jeff, it's not so much about the social media. Something has gone wrong with our society and our social fabric. I don't know whether it's the way we raise our children nowadays, or whether it's our value systems that are shifting. I think something has changed. For us to be so callous and so hurtful, to be driven by hurt and anger. I think something, and I think maybe this country, and by the way, we had started that process when I was in government, to have a national discourse where we ask ourselves, who are we as Kenyans? Who are we? And what is it that we stand for? What is it that we would want to define us as a people? And maybe without victimizing, without pointing fingers, maybe then we can start dealing with this bitterness that we have, because there's a lot of bitterness and anger out there. Yeah. I mean, it's shocking.
And hate.
A lot of it. I mean, it's normal for children to say, those are your haters. I mean, it shouldn't be normal for our kids to know that everybody just hates you. So even in school, if someone says something, they tell you hater. You know, it's not, we never used to do that.
Sure, never.
I mean, when we were kids.
Never.
So we need to do something.
Something went wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to take final comments before I let you go.
Okay.
And also the poll. Monica, anything new with the poll? Question we were asking you, would you vote for Anne Waiguru as governor of Kirinyaga? 39% say yes, 61% say no. And again, it's not scientific, and it's not restricted to Kirinyagans.
No.
It was just a random poll. And some comments, Monica, final comments? Here we go. Victor Peter, Anne should wait for clearance first before vying for a national seat. Okay, next. Dominic Carano, I would not vote for her, actually. We need leaders who are straightforward. Minded criminal, have listened to Anne Waiguru and I feel she's innocent. Jeff, ask her when will the book be launched. I wasn't going to ask that, actually. Book, when?
Coming soon.
Title?
We're still figuring it out.
Go on, give us a working title.
No. but with something around all this conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. How about catwalking?
It might sell.
My bad. Woodrow, Kenya. Anne has mastered her art well, and despite the allegations, she can be a good leader. Is yes for me. Is that it, Monica? All right. We're going to let you go. Come back. Yeah, I know I dropped something. Come back and talk some more, but thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
We have one more news piece to do, okay?
You.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
All
much.
the best to you.
Thank
Good luck in
you.
Kirinyaga.
Asante.
Martha Karua will come and defend herself here.
It's her right.
Thank you. My dear. Good
Thank
luck.
you.
All the best. Yeah?
All right.
All right. You going to take off your mic in front of everybody?
Nope.
Okay, good.
Just thought about it. Thanks.
JKL brought to you by Telkom Enterprise. Accelerate your business growth with reliable high-speed connectivity solutions from Telkom Enterprise.